You guys have inspired me to come on here and start sharing war stories instead of me having to repeat them a million times to everybody. In fact, I'm writing a book on my memoirs. It's called The Dating Guide for Musicians, The Struggle is Real. No, it's not about my love life. It's just a fun title and a pun. It's also kind of a self-help book and a reflection on how life is short. And never forget where you came from, because a lot of people do. So I wanted to come on here and share another fun story. I saw the response, from the Evanescence story I just posted, and that took me a very, very long time to write. So I thought I'd come on here and share a video with you guys. So check it out. This is a story about the night I humbled up Kid Rock and turned him back into the man known as Robert James Ritchie, or as Bobby, as he likes to go by. It was December 11th, 2008, and it was the last time that we were able to bring down the Zac Brown Band. That was an amazing booking by Max Paul, who used to own Brick by Brick. And it was like the second or third time that Zac Brown had been through Brick by Brick, and we knew it was going to be the last time because he was blowing up. I mean, a year later, he went like arena status, which was awesome. And, between Max and I and my time of working there for 8 years running the booking, we broke a lot of bands. Evanescence was just one of the many that, between the two of us, we booked. And it was rad. Alice Stinnett, Hendo, I mean, we all got stories, but I figured I'd just come on here and share them because, a lot of people don't realize the history and the significance of, Brick by Brick as a music venue. A lot of people don't even know that it was a music venue for over 50 years. So anyways, let me get back to the story. So it was December 11th, 2008. Last time we booked the Zac Brown Band. I get a call a few hours before doors open from Kid Rock's manager telling me that he was going to fly in on a helicopter for the show, and if I could take care of him and his entourage, right? I was like, okay, that's random, but yeah, sure, whatever. I'm used to random in the entertainment business. So he shows up. I introduced myself to him. He's pretty polite, nice guy. His entourage was pretty douchey, but what entourage with celebrities isn't? That's why I love the show Entourage. In fact, I worked with Adrian Grenier of Entourage, and that is going to be on my list of stories to tell. So he gets there, and he's hanging out in front of Zac Brown's tour bus. I see the opportunity to go outside and talk to him when no one's really bothering him. He was outside smoking a cigar, and I was like, do you remember this place? He was like, well, it seems kind of familiar. I was like, well, you should. You played here in 1997. And he looks at me, how do you know that? I was like, because we have your original contract from that night and the tally sheet still archived in the office. He's like, no way, I gotta see it. So I had my assistant run in my office, our office, and grabbed the contract, and he grabbed that promo pic off the wall that was up there with all the different legendary shows that were up there, even before my time. And this show definitely was. I was 17 in 1997. So I show it to him, and he's like, how much money did I make that night? What was my guarantee? I was like, $400. He's like, no way. He's like blown away. He's like, oh my God, this takes me back to the Chicago hip hop days when I was first starting off, and Joey C was still alive, and Joey C was his hype man, little dude, and you could see him tearing up a little bit. It was so rad to see him humble up and turn back into Bobby again instead of Kid Rock. I as well popped that ego bubble, and that's not the first time I've done that with celebrities. You just gotta connect with people. They're just people at the end of the day. And he wanted to see the tally sheet. He's like, how'd I do? I was like, not bad for, touring act that many people I hadn't heard of at the time. I was 22 people. It was kind of a slow night. There was maybe about, I think, 60 people or something like that night. And Ghoul Spoon was on the bill that night, and they outdrew him, you know. And Ghoul Spoon opened up for a lot of legendary acts. And fun fact for you, the singer Zach Good, he went on to become the new singer for Smash Mouth a few years back. So how rad is that? And that's another story I'd love to share and tell eventually. And maybe one day I'll get Zach on my podcast show if I'm lucky. Who knows? He's big time now, and I'm proud of him. So Kid Rock looks at it and his mind is blown. He's like, oh my God. You know, like, and he's like blown away. He's like, who's this punk little kid? And at that time I was 28. I wasn't that young anymore, but I was still pretty young. And I probably looked like I was like, I don't know, 20 still. And he looks at me and he's just like, you know what, man? Call me Bobby. And he shakes my hand. He's like, I like you, kid. And we just start rapping out and having a real conversation about life. It was so awesome. Bill Pierce, who was doing graphic design for us, was there at the time. And can't remember who was there for that conversation. But yeah, the night gets even more interesting. So before Zac Brown played, we put him up at the sound booth because that was the only chill spot he could, you know, really mellow out and hang out. And he wanted to smoke, you know, more cigars and whatnot. So I see him up there and I'm leaving him alone. I'm doing my thing, you know, and I'm standing right by the bar, right next to the sound booth, and I see Max, my old boss who used to own Brick by Brick, take a pitch with him. So I was like, cool, you know, maybe I'll ask him. You know, and I went up and I did, and I took 2 photos with him, which, you know, I am going to share in the comments. And then the next thing you know, this little dude, you know, looked like the guy from Porky's, that owned Porky's. Remember that movie? He was real roly-poly. Gets in my face, grabs my shirt, and was like, hey, man, you're being fucking unprofessional. How dare you take a picture with him? Blah, 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 blah. I was like, you want to call me unprofessional? What are you doing right now? I've been nothing but nice to you guys, hospitable all night, and you're trying to assault me right now? I was like, fuck you. And it takes a lot to really push my buttons. And the next thing you know, Max intervenes, breaks it up, and then I see Kid Rock go like this. He's like, come over here. And as soon as, you know, his entourage guy, you know, sees that, and Kid Rock kind of helped break it up too. You know, he looked like a scared dog. And it was comedy, man. So I go up there and he's like, dude, you handle that well, but, you know, don't let him get to you, man. He's like, you see that guy over there? There's a million of him that try to hang out with me. That guy is not my manager, not my personal manager, not even my entourage manager. He's just some hang around. And you know how it is when you get to this level of success. You know, we all have people like that, you know, but don't let it get to you. He's like, I like you. You got something in you. And he gave me this rad pep talk. And it was cool to see this humility from someone that I thought was just some egomaniacal prick, you know. And he went on to tell me about how, you know, what he does on stage, his whole show and blah, 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 you know, like tell me a little bit about his life. I wish I could remember everything that night. I mean, I was drinking, so it's a little hazy, but it was cool, you know. It's kind of a shame what happened to him. I mean, the guy's trying to, you know, fight for relevancy now. So like we all are, even I'm starting to feel like an old dinosaur at this point. But it just goes to show you that if you connect with someone, truly connect with someone, you can bring the real person out of them, no matter how big they become. And that is the story of how I humbled up Kid Rock. And he was actually a really cool guy then. I mean, that was almost 20 years ago, and people change. I don't know what he's like now, So if I ever run into him again and have that opportunity, I'd love to see what he's like now, because he's making a complete ass out of himself these days.